Keep it. Ooh, yeah.
Guess who's back?
Right, folks, back again on the Offside podcast with young Tony D'Amato himself, Mr. and Mrs. O'Neill's lad, Sean O'Neill. What's happening, Sean? All right?
All good. Now, what's happening with you?
All good, mate. Not too bad. Usual cracking on yourself. What's happening? Is training or is back training yet, or what's a crack?
We're back about 2 weeks now, but we're only doing. I mean, you're doing 2 hours per week, and an hour. We split the groups, so half the time, and it's 6 o'clock to 7, and then you're told to beat it for the other half to get in. So, bit crap, like, but listen, it is what it is.
It's just fucking new times, isn't it? Like,
it is.
You're the first goalkeeper I've had on here, so we'll see how this goes. Fucking 90% is our main cat, so
good luck.
Right, on the career, first memories of football, Sean, growing up, what can you remember?
First memories of football, Jesus, it was late on. I was a late footballer, like I was all Gaelic, and then probably about 11 or 12, played for the school team in a game, and then my manager of the school team was a Green Island manager, so it was a wee bit awkward for me. Falls Road boys straight over out towards Carrickfergus to play football, but no, went up there and honestly never looked back. Best probably 4 years of my life in the footballing ways, in terms of just enjoying it and no pressure, and it was brilliant, really good.
Class. Were you always a goalkeeper, or we just shaded out or what there?
Do you know what? Just really fat and shade and always pick last. Do you know what? I wasn't even. It wasn't something that was, because I played Gaelic. I think I had a Gaelic match for the school team, and the Gaelic match got cancelled, and the football team's goalkeeper, just the way it worked out, went home early sick, and they asked me would I do nets, and I went in, done well, played Rathmore, done 1-2-0 and done rightly, just a typical Gaelic player, come to take crosses and didn't know really what else to do, and it's just staying from there, like, aye.
Brilliant. So that's what I was going to say. You were still playing Gaelic, obviously, the whole way up through your youth career and stuff, and then you get into under minor school, weren't you? I
played under minor 2006. That was
and they got the championship final or something down Croke.
Got the Ulster final, aye, at Croke against Donegal. Turned out to be a Michael Murphy inspired Donegal, like, because he had a worldie that day. But look, do you know what? That was the best year. See, in terms of Gaelic, even playing like senior and stuff like that, that's probably been the best year of my life in terms of sport. Because it was at Ballymena at the time, enjoying it there under Tommy Wright, that was at the time. And then with Gaelic, it was just, I found a new love for the sport. It wasn't real, you know yourself, like, people don't give Gaelic probably the respect it deserves in football terms. People look at you, they're going there to hit a few people, and I don't get it. But I found a new kind of love for Gaelic football that year. Went to the Ulster final, played at Croke Park. Like, that's every lad's dream. You get to do that, and Jesus, it was unbelievable.
Was it sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Just big Shamie O'Prey, was it? No?
Shamie O'Prey was manager. Shamie was brilliant, and what he done, it was the first ever team and I played with where he made everyone just love each other. It was like all boys, all bit of crack. You went out the car, you gargled the car when he allowed you gargle, like, and it was just, honestly, it was just brilliant. So great times under Shamie, really good guy, still talking to this day, like, so top man. Yes.
So, as you said there, you were at Ballymena at the time. How did that sort of come about? Did you just leave Green Island and head up there?
No, I went to Glens. I actually went to Glens for a year. And do you know what? See, the Glens team, it was ridiculous. There was no point. You probably could have played with no goalkeeper every week. It was honestly, it was all kind of, they kind of pulled all the kind of, don't want to say top, but all the best players at that age group together. The Glens seemed to just pull everyone together. I mean, the big one at that age group, we were playing Linfield. They were our closest challengers. I think we beat them 6-0 and 4-0. And it was just It was it was a shambles for a goalkeeper. It wasn't really getting tested. So I was in and around the Northern Ireland under-17 team at that stage.
Right.
So I ended up going to Ballymena. A guy, Sammy McVicker, who was a reserve team manager, had been to a Mill Cup with him twice. And he says, look, come up, you're 16, play reserve team football. Be great for you. So I did. Probably at the time, my ma wasn't too happy because she was training me up teenage a week. It was fucking raging. No, it was to go from boys football to playing against men, and then having other Irish League players who had probably played top of the game, coming down when they were injured and not to play. It was beneficial. And it also was beneficial because Kenny Shields was the under-17 Northern Ireland manager at the time, and he knew of me. I was playing in his team, and he wanted me up there, so it was a win-win for me.
Brilliant. So you stayed there. Did you progress in the first team, or what sort of happened?
Do you know what? Once Kenny left, Tommy Ray took over. And I knew Tommy from the Green Island days. He would have came and took me a wee session. He's probably one of the people that had a big impact on my career. Right. So I would do like one-to-one sessions and that with him. And when he got the job, I was thinking, happy days. This is going to go well. Played a few games for the first team, just in pre-season, and then got the County Antrim Shield semi-final against Crusaders. Funny enough, that was my first team debut. We could beat 2-1, but it was just playing in front of a bigger crowd and that. It was brilliant. I enjoyed it because there was a good bunch of good group up there. That changing room was fucking mental. Like honestly, it was. I mean, you had Stuart King and Mark Pickey. Them two are, I don't know if you know them two, but they're honestly, they were like a comedy duo. Like it was just constant. Good banter, but there was the constant cutting up of gear and take your deep heat in your trunks one night. No. So it was good. It was good crack. But it wasn't until really Roy Walker came to the club that I kind of established myself as. When I say established myself, there was me and Dwayne Nelson, and he tossed and turned with us. We probably played about 16 games each that season. It was right, and I just knew I didn't get a good feeling. We'd been on like a 6-game unbeaten run. And then he binned me. And I just didn't get the right feeling for it. And I knew it was time to move on. Yeah. But at this stage, I was still only like 21, 22. So I was still relatively young for a goalkeeper. Yeah. Probably wasn't mature as well. At that stage, still out doing the whole student thing, gargling flat out and just being an absolute pest everywhere.
Right. So, as I say, you end up leaving Ballymena and end up at Dungannon. How does that come about?
Dungannon came because Darren Murphy was at Ballymena, and he was down at Dungannon. He was good friends with like Dixie Robinson and Rodney McAree, and he was like one of the coaches. And Murph knew it was a wee bit of a loose cannon at that stage, like, and I think he kind of seen it. He could take me under his wing and kind of mould me into their first team goalkeeper. So went down there, honestly, great club. Completely different from Ballymena, like, not much supporters, but real family orientated. Everything was about the players. There was not, anything you wanted, you got at Dungannon. It was that good of a club. Yeah, whereas Ballymena, there was times where I was running after, you were running after your wages and stuff like that. Yeah. And once I went to Dungannon, didn't work out that way. I mean, everything through bank and just it was top class. So, but you only stayed there for a season. So was it just with the cruise? Did you have a good season and the cruise came in for you? Aye, it was just a really good season I had. I thought around about February time, Stevie actually, I used to work in kind of a place called Signature Works. You probably hear it in Cool FM. Do you want to win a hoodie and all this? But I was down there for a while, and Stevie Baxter was one of our customers, and he'd come in and we'd chat to him all the time. And I'd never forget, we played the Cruise on the Saturday. We drew to each of them, and honestly, we were down to 10 men, and an absolute stormer. I can remember thinking, I've done well. And I can remember waiting on Stevie on the Monday, just for him to turn around and go, "You done well." And he actually straight away went, "What are you doing next year? Because I'd be interested in taking you." Yeah. And then it just, from there, just gradually came about. And it was a weird one, because I was actually, whenever it was coming about Glenavon, Marty Quinn was on the phone to me. And I was going down to sign for Glenavon. I had it in my head, I'm going to sign for Glenavon. I was getting more money at Glenavon. And then I was at Moira. Strange story. Like, I was at Moira and Jeff Spears rang me. And I'd never spoke to Jeff before this. But I think it was Stevie was just basically saying, "Look, get on to him." He said he's considering Glenavon, get on to him. And Jeff Spears, the phone call goes, "All right, Sean." I goes, "All right, who's this?" He says, "It's Jeff Spears. Just actually sitting on the toilet having a shite here." And I went, "All right, this guy's a fucking weirdo." And he went, "What are you doing going to Glenavon?" There was no, that's the sort of thing. Yeah, all the best clubs are in Belfast, and you'll love it here. And you know what? I probably got the next section, the next turn off in the motorway, and I went, "This guy sounds like good crack. He sounds like a good guy." I just thought, and it turned on the motorway, and he went, "Happy days." And then we just, from there, went down, same for the cruise, and to be honest with you, it's probably the best decision I've ever made in football.
Did Quinner say anything to you for turning around? No.
You know what? That was an awkward conversation. I rang him on the way down and went, "Listen, Marty, you can consider what way that conversation went." I was like, "Marty, I'm look, thanks for the offer and all, but I'm going to sign for the cruise." And he's like, "Yeah, bastard, fucking doing that to someone." But no, Marty, I ended up getting on really well with Marty later in the later years.
So, as I say, you're signing for a cruise. Were you still sort of playing Gaelic at county level, or had you jacked it by a stage?
No, I was still playing at county level, but when I got to the cruise, Stevie basically just said, "Look, listen, that's it. You're done with that other stuff." We were in Europe, so they'd get beat in the Irish Cup final the year before. So we got Europe, we got a European place, and to be honest with you, it was never something I'd been within Ballymena or Dungannon, and it was whenever he said, European football, you go to yourself, "I'm playing in Europe, I have a wee chance." So, and I went from there, because the draw, I can remember I signed for Stevie on like a Monday. Agreed, it was like a Monday night. I agreed that yes, signing, done deal. And then on the Tuesday, he rang me regarding I might have to take a pay cut. And I'm going, "What have I done, signing for Edens?" But it actually worked out really well, because we were down to get Fulham in the Europa League.
Yeah.
And that was the draw. That was the big draw, and lucky enough we got that.
Was that your day? That's what I have down. Was it your debut? For your competitive debut?
It would have been a competitive debut. We played a load of friendlies, but to say your debut was against Fulham, it's nice. But and you know what? I was a big Ireland fan as well, and Damien Duff was in it. Yeah. I mean, I just love Damien Duff. I was going, I'm playing against Damien Duff. This is all right, like.
See, I looked at the list of players who played that day, like Zamora and all, and John Onorisa, I think, was it? Yeah,
John Onorisa was in that team. I can remember, because in the away league, I can remember he set up a free kick, and I'm going, and John Onorisa, no. I remember looking across at Paul Lehman, and Paul Lehman's going to me, "John Honorisa's taking a free kick." I'm going, "Look at him." Oh, it was brilliant. I was surreal. Those kind of, the home leg and then the away leg were just surreal. Even though the home leg was brilliant, we done really well. But we went away, like, we were treated like royalty there. They give us, Mohammed Al-Fayed give us their bus and stuff to use, and their actual team coach. It's just, magic. Sky Sports News, everyone's got a TV. It's just different life. Yeah.
Brilliant. So, how'd you find it settling in the cruise? Because you've got a decent team anyway, like Coach Lehman, McGann, Stuarty Dallas, and all at the time. How did you sort of settle in your first season?
It was easy in that changing room, because honestly, that changing room was mental. You had Gareth McKeown, Big G. I don't know if you know stories about Big G, but it got there about 2 weeks. 2 weeks into knowing him, and I was bringing him chewing gum every Saturday because he was half water beside me. He's a legend. What a man, Big G was. But no, it was easy because as soon as I went into the club, about 2 weeks in, you come in, and I had these cracking. Well, I thought they were cracking Puma trainers, like, and there were the Velcro pullovers, and I came in from training after training one day, and the bastards had cut triangles right through the shoe. So I was going, I'm getting someone back here. They knew after a while I was a bit of a messer and that. And you know what? I waited so long because the long story cut short. So they'd done that, and I'd done a few bit of investigations for myself. Found out that Grant McCann's brilliant Irish League footballer, and he had cut them. So I thought, I'm getting him back. So I actually waited right through to the end of the season. We won the Setanta Cup. It was a great year, you know yourself. We won the League Cup, won the Setanta Cup. And the night of the Setanta, after we won it, everyone was we were buzzing. And we were up on the Park Avenue having food right after the game. And they said, listen, we're getting this open top bus for you. We're just going to make the most of it. We're all Ireland champions and all. We were like, yeah, buzzing. So we get on this open top bus, and obviously to get the sea view, they went down the Sydenham bypass. And I mean, it was freezing, but we didn't care. The gargle was flowing. So I looked across and we'd see Ryan McCann. I thought, this is my time to get him. So I took my top off, my jumper and my t-shirt, and I started waving the thing, tops off for the champions. I started singing, tops off for the champions. And I seen everyone buzzing for it, and I thought, there he is. Ryan McCann takes the top off. I stick mine back on. He goes to do that. I grab it and just throw it off a bus. All of a sudden, in bypass, wallet, everything in it. And he's like, no, my wallet. And I was like, yo, fuck me, my trainers. 2 weeks in, my trainers. So, you know what? We were going a week later. All the boys were going a week later to Edinburgh. And we were all mad about 6 o'clock in the morning to get the flight to Edinburgh for an old mad one. And we're driving up a Sydenham bypass, and there it was.
Oh, brilliant.
I waited on him, like, it was good. It was good.
Oh, classic. Brilliant stuff. So, where are we? I was just going to say, first season, we win the League Cup and then win the Setanta Cup. Can you remember much about the final? At the Oval, wasn't it? Or was it?
At the Oval, it was at the Oval. Kildare City would. Do you know what? It was a cagey affair. I thought Derry were going to be better than what they were. Would play Bohemians in the quarterfinals and beat Emmons handy enough. Played Sligo in the semis, and honestly, if we'd have played, we caught them on the hop. The pitch was terrible at Seaview. It was the first 4G.
Yeah.
It was hard as a rock.
Yeah.
So them boys, they come up, and I don't think they understood how bad the pitch was. We beat them 2-0 in the night. Went down there, and honestly, how we got away with getting in that final. I always say that Sligo team was probably one of the best teams I've played. You know, even in European teams and all, that were brilliant, and we couldn't get near them. But we hung on for the beat us 2-0 in normal time, and then Daggy Adele, he dove at the edge of the box, and the referee gave a penalty, and Big Coachy stuck it away, and that was it. We're in the final. And then the final, as I said, I thought Derry were going to be better. Although they went up 1-0, and Rory Patterson scored 2 for them, 1 from a penalty, and Big Coachy scored 2 for us. Went to penalties, or actually went to extra time, and Stephen McBride got sent off, and we were at that stage we were under the cosh, but we held on to penalties, and it was. You know, in penalties where you just get a good feeling. I played with Darmy McCaffrey at Dungannon, and he used to stay behind all the time and practice penalties with me, and he never used to change his side. And he was at Derry at the time, and I thought, you're going to stay the same way. So I was talking to him, I was come on, Darmy, you're going to my right. That's true, you never change. And he stuck, and I went to my right and saved. And then Big Gareth McKeown, the old gargle merchant, stuck one on the corner, and we were away. against Big George Doherty now, who's with us.
Yeah.
So we'll give Big G and I'd like to give Baz Malloy, who ended up at Cruise, a wee bit of chip now and again about that.
Class. So, as I say, good old times after that. Where are we? First league winning season, 2014-15, because obviously a couple of years after that, Climble were in their comp, weren't they? After they all went.
Yeah, Climble were great. Climble, the years Climble were really, really good. Boyce and Gormy just ripped it up. Like it was to beat Climble, you really had to stop them, and no one could.
Yeah.
The first year, do you know what? Like we actually went from about November. We went on like a 14-game unbeaten run, but no one really talked about us, and I think that's why it worked for us. No one really talked about us until like February time when it was coming into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
And people were going, Cruise might actually win this. And it was just, that season was really good, just a good side we had. And you know what, it was a changing room. I mean, Big Stevie was the obviously the main man at the time, but I don't think if Stevie was on, I don't think he had to do much with that changing room, because it was, you know, he made a great. Don't get me wrong, he made a great signing in Billy Joe Burns. That was his big one. Billy Joe Burns was a big signing, and when you took him off Linfield, you kind of thought there was good things going to happen. But
he's a great player, Billy Joe. He's very
absolutely
doesn't get the plaudits he deserves. He's absolutely phenomenal.
No, he is big Rolls Royce of a player. Like he can play anywhere. He dropped in the centre half last year and was just immaculate. And he's just real good player. And it just went from there. As soon as you start winning, you know yourself, and you get 5 wins, 6 wins. It started to get to a point where we were just showing up, and you knew we were battering teams like. And then the day we won out at Clinville, that was a big mistake. Me and Big Daggy done the radio after the match, and we were buzzing. And Joel Taggart says, "There's no, what he is planning on doing now?" And we says, "We're going on the drink for 5 days solid here, and we're not coming home." And you know what? See, the first night after the gargle and all, it was great. That celebrations went back to Seaview, everyone's buzzing. But see, the next day when you woke up, we're going on it again. But everyone was standing as matches going, "Don't forget, you have 5 days to go." And Twitter kept going, people saying, "You have 5 days to do this. You said you're going to do it." So when me and Big Daggy just thought, we'll do it anyway. It was the worst 5 days of our lives. Like, it started off great, and then finished with a death threat in the front of the Sun newspaper with my hole and bollocks out. We went it was like the Monday night. Just pains me even talking about it. Like everyone asked me about it, I just say don't speak about it. But it's a Monday night, and we were going down to Filthy's. We're in a taxi coming from a Davids on the Falls Road, and a taxi man. It was, you know what? Me and Daggy are actually the normal ones in this, because there's a guy who's with us, and he's in the picture as well. Cricky Rafferty, he plays for the Davids with me in the Gaelic, and he doesn't get enough grief for this. Me and Daggy were on the drink for 3 days. He came down with a broken arm to get something signed in the Davids for his insurance, and stayed on the gargle for 2 days solid. He's the loser in all this thing. But we're getting a taxi down. I'm like, just stupid the more I think about it. Like, it was us three and the taxi driver, and we're having a bit of crack with the taxi driver. And we got the Sandy Row at the lights there, and I think it was Daggy says, "There's that picture of Warren Finney, was the manager at Linfield at the time, and Grant McCann played there." I was like, "There's that picture of Warren Finney and Grant McCann. I want to get a picture of his head and send it to Grant," because Daggy had been in like Ryan McCann's stag and got friendly, calling away to Grant. Also, they knew each other. But anyway, we'll get up. That kid here pulls the arse out, moons, and them two are taking pictures. But Daggy was supposed to send it to Grant McCann privately. I don't know what he was thinking. Unfortunately, he sent it to him on his Twitter, and Grant McCann had like 500,000 followers or something. And
Jesus Christ!
Shit just hit the fan. Like, on the Tuesday night, after all that happened, the Tuesday, like I was late. We were going to Filthies, and the next day, like it was the front page of the Sun, like saying booze cruise. So I can remember showing up to training on the Tuesday, and me and Daggy were still gargling, and all the boys were training. Big Stevie come over to us and like, listen, this is your last pint, lads. After this, you are going home, and that's it. And we're then like going home training the Thursday, but we ended up getting a letter to the club and all, like just saying, listen, lads, not to come back near Sandy Row again and take this bullet as proof. Thankfully, it all worked out in the end.
Class, unbelievable. So where are we? Said about Billy Joe Ward, didn't we? Season after, is there sort of, as you say, it was just sort of switching mentality when you just got on the wee run the first season, then just carried it on through.
That we just see at the start of the season, we knew we were going to win the league. You just looked around you. The team was littered with real good pros and good players. And the change room was brilliant. That's one thing I think if you ask people about Crusaders, for years, we had, honestly, the change room, it was just a crack in the change room. It was a togetherness. It was just anyone to come in. I mean, if you didn't fit that mould of, and you weren't like a team, basically you were binned and told, see.
Yeah.
And we were ruthless. That would be the word I would use. We were ruthless in games. Like we were beating teams easy, and it was as if we didn't know how to lose then.
Mm-hmm. Really, I think sometimes it's like half a battle. See, especially people do come in and they don't sort of fit in, and then they go, "Oh, it's very clicky and all," but it's not. It's just a bunch of winners together.
That's what it was. Yeah,
class.
It was just work rate, just hard work. That team went through that. That's all it was.
So the season after that, bit strange. Big Jansen comes in and Michael Dougherty, whatever you call it.
Yes.
The backs are saying anything to me because you'd never really been challenged as a number one. You were just a mainstay throughout since you signed.
But you know what? My second season at the Cruise, I dislocated my shoulder.
Yeah.
I dislocated my shoulder. So the years we were winning the league, the shoulder was popping out, and I was just thinking, I pop that back in.
Yeah.
The third year, the year where we lost the league, we should have basically we threw the league away. We were 9 points clear at one stage and just seemed to just stop. And Linfield caught us on the hop and went on to win it. But my shoulder must have popped out about 14 times in the season. And it gets to a point then you go to yourself, I need to get the operation, causing myself so much problem. So Stevie came to me and said, listen, we're going to do the operation at the end of the season. Because big Brian, we know big Michael Dougherty was friends with Brian Jansen, right. And so he got him in for the year, and big Brian came in, done really well, good guy, like real good guy. I was real top man. Had a lot of time for Brian, and he was just a sense of professionalism about him. You could see he was played at the highest level, and it was brilliant for him because he'd never played in Europe, and he actually once Stevie had the conversation with him about playing in Europe, we're going to play European ties. He just wanted to come and put something else on his CV, so it was nice that way.
Brilliant. But see, when he comes, your operation, is that you out for the season? Like,
I was supposed to be out for 9 months. But you know, once you get the feeling that someone's in your, that's what it was. It was feeling that big Jansen's here. I'm going to have to get back and work twice as hard. And you do start to work twice as hard, and you get back. I ended up getting back about November. So I had the operation in June, and I was back for about November.
Right.
And in and around November, Brian got hurt. So I got back into the team, and I played like 10 games from like November right through, I think, to January time, maybe about second week of January, I played right up, played about 10 games in a row, And I thought, this is good, we were flying. And then it was one of them things, didn't have a good game against Coleraine. And then Brian gets back in, and I couldn't move him. I played all kind of the cup games and that, but I just couldn't move a big man. He'd done so well, and to be fair to him, he didn't do much wrong. Yeah. It'd be different if he was making hurlers every week, and you were going, listen, let's go, I'll go to a manager now, knock on the door. But big man was doing nothing wrong. And to be honest with you, even training with him and Michael Doherty, a great goalkeeping coach. So our sessions were, honestly, they were top class. So I know you weren't playing. I knew I was getting stuff out of it, even though it wasn't, on the bench.
Good training, well, like the likes of him playing the Premier League and all, magic, like.
Quality, it really was. Some of the stories a big man had, like he honestly, real good guy, and he's. Yeah. You know when we went to Europe, went to Europe one time, and the year before actually we got Copenhagen, and Brian hadn't even been here yet, but Brian was friends with Doc, and went over to play Copenhagen. Thomas Delaney, Danish international, was playing for them, and they were brilliant. They battered us. But after the game, Michael Doherty was just like, I'm going to wing this, and he went up and says, "Listen, Thomas, I'm friends with Brian Jensen." He says, "You sort us out." No, just trying to. You'd sort us out from the nightclub. And he's like, "Oh, big Brian, yes, of course." So he sorted a nightclub out for us and all. Walked in. I can remember walking in this nightclub going, "Oh no, what do we come to?" It was like a wee shelly house. And we were like, "This is shit, lads, what are we doing here?" But they ended up walking through the house, and it turned into a big massive square, and it was mad. It was just complete and utter bonkers. Sat there and drunk free on Thomas Delaney all night, so it was sweet.
Thomas Delaney, I always look at his name. You think he's from around the corner or something?
Well, Irishman. Hello.
So, where are we? You threw the league away at year 2 points. Linfield got the league title. Was that under? No, it was David Healy's first league, wasn't it?
David Healy's first year. We were just brutal. Honestly, we stopped, and as I say, like. Things just didn't. I knew it wasn't going to be a good season anyway. For me, because I knew even though we were playing away, my shoulder kept coming out. I knew an operation was on the horizon. And to be honest with you, I couldn't have got any worse when I tried a Cruyff turn against fucking Ballymena. Everyone always gives me shit about the Cruyff turn. The Cruyff turn worked. The Cruyff turn worked. It was a 25. It was a 25 seconds away at the top and hit the ball away after
that. So, where are we? Keep getting lost here. Fucking all this show there. Back next season after, get the title back. Win it by 2 points over Coleraine. Were you playing much that year, or was it sort of similar?
I was the season Brian was there. So I played about 10 games. And then I had like 1 or 2 towards the end. But I think all in I played like 13 games that season. So it was disappointing, but at the same time, as I said, it was good to see how big Brian was doing things, and it was good the training with him at that. But I knew Brian wasn't going to stay, to be honest with you, and I knew that it was night time the next season. It was important for me to be ready to step up again.
What's it sort of like when you're training? With the goalkeepers, like obviously you train away on your own and stuff. And is there ever, what's the sort of atmosphere like whenever he's come in taking your place? Is it sort of?
Nah, do you know what? You have to just kind of grin and bear it. Like at times, as I said, it's different if you feel like if you're looking at a goalkeeper and they're making mistakes and you're going, I should be playing here. It's different that way. Where you're going to a manager, it doesn't affect you and the goalkeeper because you're training anyway.
Yeah.
With Brian, big man didn't make many mistakes. He probably made 2 mistakes in one Irish Cup game against Cliftonville, and bar that, can't really remember.
Yeah.
And not ever making another mistake. That's how good he was. And it was, unfortunately, it was me being on the bench that had to take up onto it.
Do you sort of feel left out, or not left out, but not part of it as much? Or?
You definitely see once the celebrations are going on, it's difficult. It is definitely difficult to get in that celebratory mood because you don't kind of feel like you played your part as much. But look, I had, other keepers had to do it when we won the league back to back. So, unfortunately, you have to just, you have to get on with it.
Yeah. So big Jansen leaves and Jerry Doherty comes in from Derry. Was there just for competition basically? Because you're back fit at this stage.
Competition. And to be honest with you, like it's weird because me and Big Jared, I looked at it. I played 20 games and I think he played like 23. So it wasn't like one was always playing, and that's probably that could probably be our downfall as well. If we haven't got a set, maybe number one at the minute. But competition's good. I find it good. And the fact that I know that there's a goalkeeper of Jared's caliber there pushes you more to work harder and train harder. And I feel like I'm doing that at the minute, to be honest.
Did you ever go full time with Cruise or? Nah,
it's not something. I have a job, like a job in the housing executive, and it's, to be honest with you, it would be a bit late for me to be going full time at 32 now. So, even though as a goalkeeper you play a wee bit longer, but it wouldn't be worth my while, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea for probably younger players in the Irish League, not the boys that are around their 30 mark. I just don't think it works, to be honest.
Financially, like, I wouldn't.
No, I know. So it's when you take wee things like that into consideration. It's just don't think it's for me.
Is Jerry Doherty, is he full time?
Jerry comes in. He does the 2 nights and the one morning, which which is similar to me anyway. He doesn't do the other days, the other 2 days. So, but yeah, it's good. It's the competition for places in the club's good at the minute. But obviously with all this crap going on now, it's just a bit of a mess about.
So where are we now? County Antrim Shield final. It's beat the Blues 4-3. Storm Gavin or something?
Oh, Storm Gat, Jesus, that was honestly one of the worst conditions I've ever played in, and I was horrendous. First half, it was actually one of the goals. It was from a corner, and the boy whipped it out, and I came flying, like it whipped right into the front post, and I pushed it out, and one of our boys just headed it in, and I thought, oh Jesus, because County Antrim Shield was one of the medals that I hadn't won,
right?
And I was like, I say I hadn't won. I had a winner's medal, but I was on the bench, because Big Brian had played in the game. I thought, Jesus, I need to win this here. So in the second half, it turned out just to be our night, because it couldn't have won it any better. 4-3. It was just a great game. But obviously, I'm sure the neutral was looking at it going, fuck, these 2 teams don't play any football, because it was just get it up there and worry about them as up. But the night, that night, that was one of, I always say that was one of the best nights I've ever had as a team, because in the cruise that night we went in, and I think I was only about 8 of us stayed, and they says, look, you can work away at the drinker, and I can remember all the supporters were in the bar, and Stevie was over the other side, and he kept coming over and saying, listen lads, like, take it easy, you can have a few drinks, but nothing mad. I'm like, no worries, Stevie. So he says, look, get yourselves a drink, and the club are going to pay for it all. So I was going around, the way it worked out, it was brilliant. I was going around off all the boys saying, look, what do you want to drink? And what I done was, it was like Carling pints, and I was doing tally marks. Yeah. But all the rest drinks were singles. It turned out it was singles. There was like one. But beside the pints of Carling, I had 2. But obviously the waitress thought it was 11. So she just kept bringing these pints. And we were all looking at each other going, no one say a thing here. This is great. So she just kept bringing pints. And then she brought the rest of the drinks, and she goes, is that us? And we all looked at each other, and I can remember Rory went, no one, 11 bottles of WKD as well. And it went mental. It just turned mad. I can remember Big Stevie was coming over. He come over, like, we ended up on double vodka and blue wicket. We were all drinking. It was just, honestly, went to shit after that. Like, Big Stevie says, right, that's me away. And we were like, right, Stevie, see you later. He come over, says goodbyes and all. But I never forget that. I say 5 minutes passed, and I looked at the door, and I just seen Big Stevie coming back in, coming straight to our table. And I'm going, what's Big Stevie coming? And he goes over and goes, Sean, get up here. And I'm going, oh no, what's happening? He goes, come in here. And we walk into the toilet, and we Ronan Hill was lying with his head in the toilet, and he was broken everywhere. And I'm going, oh, and he goes, get him home. Poor is not, this isn't going to be too mad. And aye, and we Ronan sitting going, aye, Baxter, no worries. And funny enough, we Ronan's not with us anymore. But I was just, that night was, it turned, honestly, it went from 1 to 100 in about 10 minutes, like.
Brilliant.
Madness, absolute madness.
Tremendous stuff. So, where are we? Irish Cup final against Ballymena. Big Jerry ends up playing, did he? Or who?
No, because Big Jerry was injured. Big Jerry was injured as well. So, I get injured. Jord get injured, and then I was in playing, and then I get injured. I did like had a wee nip on my hamstring, and then Harry Doherty get into play. And you know what? I was probably the most disappointing I've been at the cruise. Like I was a disappointing one, because I knew Harry was leaving. You know, I knew he was leaving the cruise. He was just wrapping football up. He'd had enough.
Yeah.
And I thought I'll get back fit for the final, and I thought I'll have a chance of playing. And the way things were kind of put to me was that I thought that I would have had a chance to play. But named the team. Was disappointed. I was on the bench. But to be honest with you, we were never going to lose that final against Ballymena. It was as fair play to them getting that far, but we had just too much. We would have just had too much to get over the line in the end. Any game we would have played against them.
Did Baxter say tell you anything on the day or anything, or just name it?
Nah, probably no. And probably maybe a wee bit of disappointment in that as well. But look, that's football. We had a wee conversation later on that night, and sometimes that's the way football goes, and you have to just get on with it. As though you're disappointed, it's just one of those things. And but it was good to win, because that was the set for me. That was every medal, every medal and every kind of runners-up medal I've got for every trophy. So I was nice to have one to complete the set.
So. Well, Wolves game, forgot about that there. Draw comes and then you get Wolves. What was that like for you?
Oh, Jesus.
Class.
Best, probably, as much as I was saying about playing Croke Park, and it was one of the best football, things in Gaelic. The Wolves game was, honestly, I was head and shoulders above, even Fulham. Played against some good teams in Europe, like Fulham, Copenhagen, Rosenborg even were a good side. But the Wolves, Jesus, the Wolves game was unbelievable. Even just the day of the game over there, we knew it was going to be a full house. It was sold out. And everything about it, even like the cruise supporters, we capped the Wolves supporters were obviously buzzing. It was their first time in Europe in numerous years. So at the first kind of 20 minutes, they were right buzzing about the game, but then we kept them quiet, and then eventually you could just, eventually over Molyneux, you could only hear the cruise supporters singing. That's one of the first times in my career I went, Jesus, this is unbelievable. I just had to stop, take a wee time out and go, this is just unbelievable what's happening here. And I was captain, which was nice as well. Missing out in the Irish Cup final, and then I probably made up for it that I was captain against Wolves, and just everything about it. Had gone in to do the meeting with the two captains. Although I've been captain before, but there was a wee meeting before the Wolves game with Conor Cody and the ref. It was just. Like, it felt like the guy would have went the end there for you. How's your stay? just a good down to earth. You expect that from being a Liverpoolian, like. But it was just quality. It was quality up to about 92 minutes, and then João Moutinho crosses one. I think Billy Joe's going for it. I go for it. Goes through and boy taps in and make it 2-0. If it had went once, see if we had got away with that 1-0. Even though it probably was, Stevie always says the proudest he's been of his team, ever, a team ever. If I'd had no winning, that's probably the game, and I'd look to going, Jesus, I'd done really well against the Premier League team, like, and not just a Premier League team, top 6 Premier League team. They are top class, like. Yeah,
that's the best Wolves team there's ever been, like. Some stuff, like, they're really, really
they
good.
Do really, really good, but just brilliant. And it was even the night out wasn't the night. Usually in Europe, the nights out are unbelievable, but that one, I think people were just still wanting to talk about the match. No, it was just we had a night out, but it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It wasn't as good as some of the other ones.
Yeah.
Like, actually, you know what? I'll tell you one about Rosenborg. Well, Rosenborg, Cracker. It was the second season, and we actually played them on the 11th. We actually played them, I think it was on the 12th of July.
Right.
No, we were playing them on the 13th, that's what it was. But on the 12th of July, we had to fly over. So some of the boys in our team were missing their own size spice, like, and they weren't too happy. But I can remember me and Big Daggy woke up on the 12th morning to big all these drums and this flute going. And we walked out, and there's Davy Rainey playing the flute. Big Gareth McKeown. He's got the big drum with him, and he's marching just back and forth from me and Daggy's room. And Big Chicken sitting with his Union Jack Boulder hat on. I know what you're thinking. It's probably like massive fucking hat, like, for his head, but they were doing a full march, and there was boys and all behind them with their Union Jacks, and we were going, "You absolute gangsters." But see, on the trip, like, we, because we got an extra day, we flew in on the 10th, and the game wasn't. I think we flew in the 10th, and the game wasn't until the 13th.
Right.
So on the 10th, we were going, listen, lads, there's only one thing for it. We're going on the sauce here, like. But Stevie had said, listen, no one is to leave the hotel. And we're like, oh, Jesus. So we went around, and like half the boys had stuff in their minibars. So literally, I'm not saying names. But me and Davey Rainey, and a few other senior players, just kind of went around to all the young lads, their mini bars, and we're like, lads, don't worry. Some of us don't have anything, but we're just going to take it all, and we'll talk about it on the way when we're leaving. Like, so we filled everyone's mini bar in these bags and up to a room, and we're sitting drinking away. And it was Paul Heatley's never forget his first trip, and he was rooming with Matthew Snorri. And in this hotel, it was like a big, like, if you went in your door, you walk straight to your window. Everyone's windows were looking in on each other. It was a big square. So you look up floors and all and see people waiting down and all. But we could see Matthew Snorri and Paul Heatley, and we were looking right in their room. We thought, lads, so it gets about 12 o'clock night, and we're still on the sauce. Stevie thinks we're in bed. We're all juiced. And say there's about 10 of us all, honestly, we're in a bad way. And we think, let's order a she-meal. The Matthew Snorri on Paul Heatley's room. So be a brilliant idea. The gargle was in. We're going, brilliant. Oh, so we're all firing in this. We're all going here. I think we all give Big Coachy, the dog Coachy, sorted out who's ordering this she-meal. So it gets their time, and she sends a message to Big Coachy's mobile saying, look, I've just arrived outside. So Big Coachy's boom, downstairs. I want to see what it's like before going. And he just wrote back, come to room 326. No, can't really come out. And she was like, no problem, no. So he went down, walking through the the reception, and he says she was a champion. Like, this thing was gorgeous. Like, he says, big legs, no. And he just kind of turned around and bolted back up their room. So we all gets the light off because Skimmer, Matthew Snorri, and And Paul Heatley, every now and again, would wave up, no, you still on the drink? No, we're, well, I still on the drink. So we turned off the lights to make him think we'd bailed. We're all sitting there, and big coach, he comes in there, so we can see her, you can see her walking around. It comes at the door, and them two boys, I think them two are playing a PlayStation, thinking, oh, this is brilliant, we're playing Rosenborg. And the door knocks. I'll never forget it. Paul Heatley gets up, and I don't know if you know him, but he's the strangest wee man, like. But he gets up to the door, and he puts his hand to the wee peephole, and he's like, he runs back across, and he's like, Skimmer, and he starts hitting him. Yeah, and the both start celebrating, going, oh, this bird's amazing, this is going to hang. So wee Skimmer on their high-fiving each other, yeah. And advanced, wee Skimmer looks up and says, all the boys are west, nothing to do with him. It's like, no, I But they go to the door anyway, and then next thing, it just like, you could just see them both going, oh, what the? No way. But the next morning at breakfast, Paul Heatley says, he went, yes. And it just went, hello. Hello. We went, what the? No. Get away from here. Oh, just, so much shit you do when you're away. So much shit you do.
That is fantastic. Brilliant stuff.
Okay.
Class. Right, wee quiz. We'll finish our wee quiz to finish off with. Just be best and worst. Try and do it. We forgot to do it last week with Jamie, but sure.
Right.
Right, best finisher. You've played
best finisher. Fuck, seeing shooting. No, I might sound mad. See, Hard Baveland. Hard Baveland is he always just seems, even all the goalkeepers look at each other going, what a guy. He's got like 2 left feet, and every time he does shooting, he's firing things in the top corner. Ridiculous. He's definitely one of the best finishers at the club.
Stick him up front, fuck's sake.
I know, it's true. Big Stevie, listen.
Worst finisher?
Big Jordan Owens. Unless it's with his head, like, he's no hope. That big Coogan, like, unless it's with that, he's no hope. Big man, what a guy, like, great man, one of the best, but not having his finishing.
Best touch.
Big Geordie for safe's got a good touch. Big man's got a
very elegant about him, doesn't he?
He does. He's got a great touch. Good technical player.
Yep. Worst touch.
Easy. Daggy Goodale. Daggy Goodale's the only man I know that if he takes a good touch, he could run away from you. He would turn back and look for a tackle. The guy, honestly, he is. Put it like this here, in 9 years, I'd say I've probably seen Daggy take 1 good touch in my time, and we'll only ever hear about it. It was a goal against Cliftonville. He scored on Boxing Day, and he never stops talking about it. So,
fittest.
Big Daggy, Jesus, that man.
Love that.
I mean, if you're not that technically good, you got to work on something else, and he's worked on his 9 lungs. He's Big Daggy's a fit boy. No, I don't think too many come close to him.
Yeah. Fattest.
You know what? There's not too many fat boys like Big Kyle Owens. Putting on a wee bit of a beer belly, but that's probably due to his 10 weeks of constant gargling. Hero.
Yeah. I've been at party with him a couple of times, so. Quickest.
Jeez, quickest. Paul Heatley's like lightning. Like it's weird. He's quick over like about first 20 yards. There's just no catching him.
Mm-hmm.
So probably go Paul Heatley. He's so quick, but there's rumours he's got a 3rd leg, so you can take it if you want from that. Like.
Well, I think slowest.
Jesus, this could go with. This is slowest. Big Chris Haggerty. I'm going to go. I'm going big Chris Haggerty. Big Hegsy. Doesn't look like he turned too quick for you, but brilliant in the air, like.
Reads it well.
He reads the game well.
Like calmest on the pitch.
Calmest. Probably go with the goalkeepers. As much as we're communication, I think goalkeepers are usually calmest people on the pitch are usually the ones kind of keeping people relatively relaxed and stuff like that. In terms of outfield, Billy Joe, he's the most relaxed man alive, like, first and foremost. And the man plays Call of Duty 24/7, drinks tins of Coke. That's all he does. But again, he can do that when you're one of the best players in the Irish League.
What a guy. Maniac. Who's a maniac?
I'm sure I'd probably get a call for a few of these here, like, but know what? In terms of literally maniacs who you would probably think could shoot up a school full of kids, like, Ross Clark. Ross Clark's a sort of dark guy who would, honestly, I don't know if he's legit the full shilling, but in terms of like maniac, he could be. Yep, Ross Clark.
Last one, just who's the best talker?
Best talker. He's probably be goalkeeper. Probably be myself or Big Jared, like in the games. Big Chris Haggerty talks well as well in the game. But yeah, probably one of those three. Like I'd probably give it to Big Higgs, like, because he talks well. Sometimes when you've played with centre halves for so long, and Big Coachy would have been a talker. Hart Babylon doesn't talk much. Davy McGowan didn't talk much. Big Leaper, Paul Lehman, when he was a complete opposite to everyone. He was just unbelievable. Talked until he couldn't talk no more on the pitch. So I think Chris Haggerty's probably the closest one for a centre half that does that.
Brilliant. So we'll sort of leave it there. But what's the future sort of hold for you? Do you think?
Future still. Hopefully get back playing football soon. Back kind of doing what we do best. Like back in, I really want to establish myself. Get the first team. Make myself first team goalkeeper again, because me and Jared kind of, as I said earlier, kind of split kind of duties. I need to kind of just get back to doing what I know that I'm capable of, and get that number one jersey again.
Put a marker down, sort of.
That's it.
As I say, you're not going to retire anytime soon. We've had a hard paper round, but how would you look back? How would you look back on it so far?
Oh, Jesus, I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, I really wouldn't. It was just, I'd say, I've had a really good career. I'd say, some people will look at the Irish League and think, no, it's not the be all and end all. But if I was to write down some of the things I've done in my career, Jesus, Magic. Not many people, not many people about the North will have a CV like it in the game. So pretty happy. I know, and there's also not too many people that have won everything in the game. That's the Tampa Cup. There's only kind of 30 teams. Two teams, Linfield, the really top Linfield side, and then our side, and not many teams have, or players have them medals.
Brilliant. That was magic. Listen, thanks very much for doing that. That was class.
Yes, no worries, mate.
Good man. Thanks. Cheers.